Our next guest is the head of the ICRC, the Interdisciplinary Cyber Research Center here at the Tel Aviv University. This is the organization that are actually in charge of Cyber Week. A lot of people call themselves the father of cybersecurity. There are a few that actually deserve this title, so they're absolutely father of cybersecurity. I would like to call to the stage General Major Professor Itzik Ben Israel, the stage is yours.
Good morning. This is, as we all know, it's not a normal regular year. We are in a kind of war, which was forced on us almost 9 months ago, still not yet over. And this caused us a lot of hesitation. Should we make the regular, normal Cyber Week and AI Week and etc., as we do every year? We decided that as far as we can, we should live our normal life. And I'm glad that if you wander like me now in the campus, see all the halls, all the sessions, different sessions, I'm glad that probably we took the right decisions. Well, it's people that sits here. I think I don't have to tell you that when we say cyber resilience or cyber capabilities, etc., it's not a one-dimensional issue. It's not only about technology. It's about a lot of different aspects. And when we started building the ecosystem in Israel some 2010, what is it now? Almost 15 years ago. At that time, we were dealing with a crisis and doing something against in the field of resilience and trying to solve cyber crisis only within what we call critical infrastructure, a certain small selected group of infrastructures that the government decided already at the beginning of the 2000s they need protection, cyber protection. But if you were a regular, normal company facing a problem and a crisis, you didn't have anyone to consult with, and therefore I'm very glad that activities like the one that is going to be discussed here today, managing the cyber crisis, became popular. That we have also, we call it industry, although it may not be industry in the classical sense of production lines or something like this, but you need knowledgeable people, you need people that have experience, understand the whole issue, and including, by the way, technology. It's not enough to bring someone with experience and tell you, okay, and now I understand what happened, we should do this and that. That may be many times too late. I wish you all a very fruitful discussions along these lines. And I'm really will be glad to see you next year, even in bigger quantities. And thank you very much for coming. Thanks.
Thank you very much for Professor Ben Israel for his leadership and for organizing these events. I think it's so important for the Israeli economy, the Israeli cyber industry, that you decided to organize this event, and in this year more than ever. So thank you very much. We so much cherish your contribution to the industry. Now I'm glad to invite you to hear from probably the world most known expert on cyber insurance. There's no better person in the world I know Shay Simkin for many years. He's now the global head of cyber insurance at Howden, one of the world's largest brokers, insurance brokers. But I think Shay, when he started speaking about, I don't think they called cyber, I think like IT insurance or technology insurance, it was more than 20 years ago. And he was kind of like the kind of person that would go and teach and educate people that there is a new and emerging risk that must be met by the insurance industry, even before they knew that there's a risk, that there are damages, and before any insurer would underwrite such a policy. And I think he was a visionary at that time. He was someone who certainly kind of like changed the insurance industry. And now when everybody around there is speaking, there are conferences all over about cyber insurance and cyber risk and insurance. And everybody's talking about the fastest growing product in the insurance market. And the kind of like the most evolving risk and the one that, you know, is the highest demand and the highest interest for capital. One thing to remember, that there was a vision. There was something that formed this industry from the very beginning, the first policies, and we're so glad and honored that this international expert happened to be an Israeli and to share with us a little bit about the kind of like the cyber crisis management from the perspective of the insurance industry, cyber insurance.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, I'll try. So most of you hate insurance. It's boring, and every time you encounter insurance, they don't want to pay us the money, and they're difficult, and so on. I'm going to try and give you a different perspective of what cyber insurance and what is so revolutionary about cyber insurance, and why this is the fastest growing product in the insurance industry, and where does it come when we talk about claims. Okay, we'll try it. So, thank you, Manny and Nimrod, for the invitation. It's an honor to be here, especially in such a difficult year for the Cyber Week, so I'm very happy to be here. I'm representing Howden. Howden is a global insurance broker based out of London. We have 18,000 employees in 95 countries around the world. So what I will try to do and give you in the 20-25 minutes which I have available to me is a little bit of the flavor of what is happening on the insurance world, because I think that the insurance world is super, super important when we talk about claims. Okay, we'll do it. Fantastic. So these are some of the clients that we deal with worldwide. Some of them already have had claims in the past, so lots of takeaways from these events. And as we said, cyber is the largest risk facing any business around the world. I think that most of the people in this room understand it. If people outside this room still don't understand it, they will understand it. I think that over COVID times, people, when moving away from home and starting to work in an environment which was much less protected than you CISOs were used to, we realized globally that computers are critical infrastructure. And because they're critical infrastructure, we need to protect them in a different way. By the way, when you look at this is the Allianz Risk Barometer. Allianz is not just a football stadium, it's also one of the biggest financial institutions in the world and insurance institutions in the world. And this year, by the way, we are miles from because it was always supply chain and cyber, and only the year of the pandemic was the number one. But it is the largest. And I think that when I move around the world and I talk to board of directors, to investors, to CEOs, everybody understands this. Everybody is super worried about these cyber risks. And they're worried because a lot of the times they don't really understand how to deal with it, what to do with it. It's a changing environment, contrary to when you're insuring this building, it will be here in 50 years, maybe in another 100 years, without a lot of changes. In our environment, things change on a daily basis, on an hourly basis sometimes, so it is quite difficult to insure. But the cost of doing nothing, you asked me how much of the clients around the world are insured for cyber insurance now. So cyber insurance, by the end of 2023, it was about $14.5 billion of premium. It's quite a lot. And it's growing at about 25 to 27% year on year, which is, if you look at other types of insurance which are growing at about 2, 3, 4%, they're quite happy. So this is a fast growing. And I think that we need to make sure that every one of our clients around the world can, in a way, in a simple manner, of course they need to have some kind of a cyber hygiene in order to buy it, but they will be able to buy a cyber policy. And what is a cyber insurance? Because cyber insurance is very different from other types of insurance, from the insurances that you buy, that may be car insurance, household insurance, business insurance. We play a major role in this whole orchestration of a cyber event. And we play a major role because most of the times the first phone call that a client will make when he has a suspicion or a cyber event would be to us. And we make sure that they understand that when they call us, we are totally on their side, helping them and holding their hands until the event is over. When they call us, and hopefully when we will talk by the end of the speech, I'll talk about the onboarding process that we do with clients. Hopefully we will already know who the incident responders are. We will know who the legal team that will assist and the negotiators, and we will cover all the costs of everything. So the cost, and it doesn't matter if it's Mandiant or CrowdStrike or Signia or Mitiga or Confida or whoever, we will cover, of course, the costs of the IR or the forensic contamination, eradication, whatever. Then, of course, the first party cost, the business interruption and everything. So it's a very valuable product for any company around the world to protect the balance sheet. After all, insurance is a risk transfer mechanism. We're not there instead of, it's not that if you buy insurance, you don't need to buy EDR anymore. No, you still need to buy the EDR and do the MFA and employee education and everything. But in the end of the day, as most experts said in this panel before, there is no 100%, and we're there to take the risk away. These are some of the things that we're asking our clients to do around the world. So it's something that they will need to implement. Not all of them, but these are the controls that most of you know. By the way, when we look at the history, not talking about the 90s, but talking about, when we start looking at the history of cyber insurance, 17, 18, this is pandemia, 2021, when we were in COVID times. Here is how naive we were. So we thought that, you can insure, Manny has a Picasso in his house, but we don't need to ask him if he has any bars or any alarm system or anything. So we thought that we play big numbers, we will win it. But after COVID came, we saw a spike, not just in the frequency of claims, but also in the severity of claims. So we started seeing during COVID times what we call the ransomware pandemia, and it started, when you look at 16, 17, 18, it's a joke, pay me a Bitcoin and a half and I'll give you your data, or I'll give you your, but here we're talking millions. The highest ransomware we paid, I think 2 or 3 years ago, was $16 million in one event. Nobody keeps $16 million in Bitcoin, so we're able to pay 16 million, and we are able to pay it in 24 hours, and because that's our job to do it. But you can see the spike also in the premiums that clients paid, and now we're in a good position because most of our clients around the world have what we need as far as their cyber hygiene, and we're trying to manage to control this better. So just a few of the things that we're seeing. Of course, ransomware is still up. Okay, so when we look at 23 compared to 22, ransomware is still up. It's now triple ransomware. So on one hand, they encrypt your data. On the other, you encrypt your computer. They take away your data. They approach your clients and say, if you don't pay the ransomware, then we will publish the data. And the latest we've seen, which is the most worrying to us, is mafia-style events whereby CEOs would get a picture of him and the children and wife, and so mafia is definitely going into this, and this is a worrying thing for us. So what do you do when there is what would you do when there is a cyber event? Of course, lots of things that you could do. Call the IT, call your lawyer, whatever. I think that one of the things that you need to understand, if you have cyber insurance, and you hopefully have it in your protocol on the platform or whatever, you will need to call the insurer. The insurer meaning us, okay? Because we are not on the side of the insurance company, we are on your side. And why do you need an insurance broker in a cyber event? I'm sure that some of you CISOs here say, well, there's such a balagan in a cyber event, there's a chaos going on. The last thing that I want is an insurance broker who doesn't understand anything to be part of the team there. And by the way, it's a huge mistake. And I'll give you an example. And don't be offended, any of your IR teams or lawyers or whatever, but all of you, IR, legal, PR, negotiators, you're working on an hourly rate. So when Mandiant come to me and say, I need 1,000 hours of IR. 1,000 hours of IR? Yeah, I need to do forensic, I need to do this. Hey, let's start with 100. I am doing this to protect the client, because in the end of the day, that says that the client has a bank of $10 million available to him. If he wastes on the direct cost, the IR, the legal, 7 million for the business interruption, and like Nimrod said, in the end of the day, the biggest cost in a cyber event is the business interruption. So he will be left with 3 million in the end of the day. And lawyers, yeah, I want the best lawyer in the world. They want to charge you for 1,000 for what? To tell you that you need to notify, and that you. So I'm not playing down the importance of these vendors or these help that you're getting. I'm not doing it. I'm just saying we need to control it, because every time that we go out there and we are not controlling the event right and the money that flows in the event, and some IR teams are saying, yeah, this is a great time, you know, we can charge $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. To us, it's not. So we need to be there and assist our clients. So it's super important that you get your people involved. So we try to help. We have to try to help our clients in different ways. One of them is helping them choose the right people to work for, because not every vendor that you think, my cousin, he has an IR team and he's got 3 people, and now you need to deal with an international company with branches all over the world, and he has 3 people. So we help you choose the right teams, and of course spend the right time on the event and the right money. I think we all understand that it's a teamwork. So when everybody is sitting around in the war room or in the table, we need to get everybody to work together. Sometimes what we see, and I'm sure that you've seen it in an event, there are too many cooks trying to cook the same thing, and it's disastrous. So the CEO will bring his friend, and the CFO will bring somebody, and there's too many cooks. So I think making sure that everybody around the table, that sits around the table, brings value. And if they don't bring value and they don't have the right experience, and please work with people that have experience in anything that you do, but please work especially because this is a crisis like you've never had in your life. A cyber crisis, there are companies that die after cyber crisis and those that live and will continue still hurting. So it's something that you need to take into consideration. You need to have the right people. And of course, because it's a team thing, you know, practice, 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 and practice makes perfect. So practicing who will be in the war room and what will be the role of each one of these people in the room is super important. I want to say one thing about claims, and it is connected to what you guys are doing. One of the most neglected places in the insurance industry is handling of claims. And if you handle claims, and we've had these discussions, Nimrod and I, for years now, even before they started Cytactic, and we look at the insurance industry, the way that the insurance industry can benefit. I know you can benefit from a platform and making everything, but the way that the insurance industry can benefit from a platform is very important, because in the end of the day, when you're paying the premium for any type of insurance, if the loss ratio is high, meaning that the insurance industry is making less money, you are paying the price. So we want to make sure that when we manage the claims, we manage it in the best and the most efficient manner, and that everybody that is a stakeholder in this event, being the board of directors, CEO, third parties, has the ability to see the event, to see what is the damages out of the event at any given time. And that the confusion we had before in cyber events is something that I think is part of the past now. The last thing I would say is that people tell me that, well, I'm buying insurance doesn't pay, so if you can show me any other type of insurance that over 90% of claims are paid, please bring it to me, because it's not existing in any other types of insurance. So cyber insurance works. We pay more than 90% of the claims because it's hard not to pay a claim. And yes, we are being challenged now by a lot of the things that are happening. AI, of course, is part of the challenges and the new changing environment. And of course, we will need to keep up with the changing environment. And thank you for coming and attending.